Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kavre, a couple that loves to play board games.
And we love sunshine.
Now that it is becoming warmer out, we are very, very excited. Oh.
Oops.
It was open.
Well, in order to celebrate the sunshine, we thought we would
do a list about 10 sunshine games. Now, what is a sunshine game, you might ask?
That's a great question.
That is a great question. It kind of just, to me at least. So here's how this works, is usually we come up with an idea and then we'll throw it back and forth to see if it lands. And then sometimes both of us interpret it a different way. So we're gonna see if we've done it correctly this time. My interpretation of this sunshine game list is that they're all games that I get more excited to play now that it's actually warmer out. I know that might sound weird, but yeah.
That's not my interpretation.
Oh.
My interpretation is that these are games that bring a little sunshine into our lives.
But every game does that.
Well, these are extra sunshine into our lives. They remind me that the summer days are ahead. They want to splash me in the sun with the rays.
Ooh.
Okay,
nice. That's where we align. It's like a reminder that the sunshine is ahead.
Sunshine.
And that's what this list is made of.
Now, in no particular order, we wanted to share these 10 lovely games with you. Well, I want to kick things off with Twin Palms.
Woo!
So, Twin Palms is a card game designed by Christy B and is published by Bank Inc. Now, in Twin Palms, what you're going to do is you're going to get a set of cards and you're going to play some cards and win some tricks over a course of a varied amount of rounds based on your player count. Now, the catch in this trick-taking game is that every trick you play is going to be 2 cards.
Yes.
Which I don't think I've seen in a trick-taking game.
I'm sure there's one out there.
So you play a pair of cards and try to win tricks that way. What's really cool is there's 4 different modes of this game that you can play. One with just 1 suit, one with 2, one with 3, and one where the mixed dynamics of cards builds a hierarchy, and it's extreme mode, and it's very fun.
Yes.
But essentially, in the beginning of each round, you'll bid how many tricks you think you'll win out of the 5 that you have in your hand. And based on how you do, and how many tricks you do win, you'll get some sand dollars. Over the courses of round, there'll be some incremental scaling with bidding, and you'll want to have the most sand dollars at the end of the game because that makes you the Twin Palms champion. And I love that it's called Twin Palms because palms are the best suit in the game, and pairs are better than not pairs. So, pair of palms,
a twin
amazing.
of palms.
A twin of palms is amazing, especially when they're 10-10, because then you're guaranteed the win.
Yeah, I don't think you can beat that.
You can't.
I don't think you can.
Unless you have 2 wilds.
Yeah.
And they're also 10s.
10-10's a tie. I don't know what breaks a tie in the 10s.
Me neither.
Well, you'll have to find out by playing the game. It is a pretty standard trick-taking game outside of the fact that you are playing in pairs or in, like, I want to say pairs, but they don't need to actually be matching pairs. So you play them in pairs, and then you always prioritize the higher card. So it's always nice, or you prioritize like the actual hierarchy on the card. They've got this very nice reference card though, so you can follow along doing that. It's like from 1 to however many combinations there are that work out when you're playing through this game. So you can always like reference back to the card, look at the cards that people have already played, and then mix and match the cards that are already in your hand to see whether or not it's smart for you to take the trick, or you can possibly just leave it and throw some maybe not so great cards away. So it's very interesting to try and manage your bid while also being okay with still scoring points even if you don't make it, because you'll get a point for your tricks won regardless.
Unless you bid 0.
Oh yeah, because if you get 0 tricks, or if you bid 0 tricks, it's like an all or nothing. Yeah, that makes sense.
And that is Twin
Palms. Well, sticking with the beach theme, let's talk about Santa Monica by Josh Wood. And it's published by AEG. So basically in Santa Monica, what you're gonna be doing is building this nice little neighborhood, or section of this neighborhood, I think.
The Santa Monica
Maybe.
Beach?
Yeah, but you're given this like business building as, I don't know if it's a business building or not, but this main card. And you're supposed to build along it. You build beach sections or boardwalk sections. And essentially those cards will have different resources, different generations that will help you maximize your scores throughout like all of the different things that you're able to draft. So this game is a drafting game where you go around drafting cards, placing them onto your own tableau, and making this beach neighborhood so you can score the most points through essentially set collection.
A pier, is that what it is? A pier?
A pier, yeah.
Beach neighborhood?
No, a pier goes out.
Out? It kind of goes
like
out.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
I love the aesthetics in this game. There's little meeples that are all varied with different colors, and I feel like it just brings out the best of the table when it's on the table. And I also adore games that build a tableau that's like a scenic panorama, which is what this game is. It makes me very happy.
Yeah, these cards are gigantic. They're like the size of my palm kind of thing. And it's a lot of fun to, like Ilya said, build out your own tableau and score a bunch of points strategically based on like what you're drafting, because there are a lot of different ways to get points. So it makes for a fun little game that provides a lot of like variability.
Exactly.
And that's Santa Monica.
Beach. Now I guess we can still stick with the beach and the island theme and talk about Fife.
Fife.
So this one's designed by Koshin. It's from Pegasus Spiel. And if you like games like Calico, like those crunchy games where everything just feels good until it doesn't, because everything is going wrong and you can't do anything and everything's on fire, well, Fife may be for you. So what you're gonna do in this game is you're gonna have little tokens and you're gonna pick them from the bag and then place them on your board. Now when you place one, you have to have a goal associated going towards it in one of the directions, and sometimes that's diagonal. So you'll take one of your side goals and put it on. Now there's varying goals and varying tiles. I think there's 5 symbols, 5 colors. So there's a lot of variation.
Put all of that together and then you get a lot of different tokens.
And you're trying to fill all the goals that you have on the side, move them over to your board while you're moving tokens over, and hope that everything works out smoothly. And will it? No.
Probably not.
It won't.
No.
There is a small chance that it will.
Yeah, the goals are a lot of fun to place because it's like an optional thing once you've gotten further enough into the game. So if you place one, for example, that maybe already has 2, you can't place another one there. So there's no replacing that happens. Or you can just like place one, and if one goal is already filled, you don't have to place another one because maybe you're not sure what you want to place there yet. But furthering into the depths of the combos, or maybe even a little frustrating because it's kind of hard to get, but it's very rewarding. You can chain combo your goals. When you finish one goal, you get to like flip it over and say it's complete. If you're the first one to finish it, you get bonus points. But you can also finish multiple goals at once. And that means if you're able to do that, you'll get bonus points just for being able to do that. And I think the best one you can do is 4, and you have to be able to essentially place your middle token last. I did it once, and I will never do it again.
Why not?
Because I think it's very unlikely, and I got extremely lucky, and I basically left my middle spot open and kept the other tile, the tile that needed to go in the middle, until the very, very end of the game, and I was fortunate enough to be able to complete it.
He crushed all of us.
It's a surefire way to win the game, I think.
Well, maybe not, because you're not going to get the bonus points for completing the goals.
I don't know. It's not marginally better. It's significantly better.
And that is
Fife. Okay, I've got one other island game. I don't think any of my other ones talk about islands. So
much transitions.
About Juicy Fruits. This one is by Capstone Games, Family Edition. I guess it's more important to recognize. And who is it designed by? It is designed by Christian Storr. And essentially, if you've ever played like, oh gosh, why can't I remember what that game's called? Where you have to like move the vehicles out and like try and like puzzle your way out. Yeah. Rush Hour, I think I remember playing it.
Yeah.
And essentially you have to like build your way out by moving certain puzzle pieces. Juicy Fruits, although not a puzzle, gives me that vibe of being able to move those things around. Essentially what you're going to be doing is you've got different fruit tokens that you can move back and forth on your board. So on your turn, all you'll do is move a token and collect fruit based on how many spaces you've moved. Also, at the end of your turn, you're able to complete a goal by spending the fruits that you've now collected, which opens up your board and makes you be able to collect even more fruit, and then also makes it a lot more fun to be able to slide things left and right, up and down. But the cool thing about this game is, like I said, as you progress, the board gets bigger, you're able to complete more and more goals, but there's also like a set collection aspect going on. There's buildings that you can put onto your island that make it more difficult to move your fruit, but offer you more ways to score points, or just give you like a raw amount of points. And it's just a lot of fun to see these chain combos happening. You're going to end up having periods of turns where you're just like hoarding fruits, and it feels very, very good to then be like, haha, I'm able to complete these things.
I love the little fruit tokens because they are thick wood.
Oh yeah, like the actual resource.
And
yeah.
they're humongous, it feels, and it just feels so good to play as you shift them around. And I feel like in my head always goes, juicy fruits, they're gonna move ya.
Gum.
But
this is about an island and fruit.
And a board game. This is not
yes,
gum.
This is not gum.
Although, are the fruits juicy? We don't know.
I would suspect not, because they're like...
Maybe they just have a hard shell and you have to break through.
Oh, let's not test that theory. Anyways, Juicy Fruit is a lot of fun. You'll play through a certain number of rounds based on how many contracts or things are bought, and then the game will come to an end. Whoever has the most points will end up winning, and it's definitely worth checking out. The tokens are actually... I'm remembering the things on your board are actually like fruit baskets too, so that's always fun.
Very fun.
And that's Juicy Fruits.
Juicy Fruits. Now the game I want to talk about next, let's get away from the islands, but maybe we can look at them from a distance.
Oh.
Because the game I want to talk about is Sunset Over Water. So this was designed by Stephen and Eduardo Baraf, and art's done by the lovely Beth Sobel, and this is from Pencil First Games. Now in this game, what you're going to do is you're going to go out there and paint some beautiful landscapes. Now, I feel like this game is not talked about enough, and I really, really enjoy this game. Basically, there's a grid of beautiful landscapes that you're going to paint. And your painter will be on those grids, and you'll play cards with time and movement and some other various actions. But the best part is the time, because it's how early you're going to wake up to go do the painting.
Yeah, that's the turn order.
Yeah, exactly. So it determines the turn order, and maybe if you get up early enough, you'll capture a site that someone else might not because they've slept in.
Yes.
So you're going to collect paintings as you move, and then you're going to trade those paintings in for maybe some of the contracts that are around. Maybe keep some for yourself, but generally you're just going to want to try to score the most points by the end of the game by being the very best artist.
Yes.
There's also a pocket edition of this as well, and it's like this big.
I forgot about the pocket edition. Oh my goodness.
It's somewhere over there.
Yeah.
But it's so small, you can just carry it with you and commission paintings everywhere, basically.
Yeah. Yes. Theoretically. This game is a lot of fun. It's like a pick up and deliver almost. And then there's like races for other goals, so I think that's a lot of fun. And then every round I believe it's every round there's a new goal that you have to work towards, that everybody is collectively working towards, and whoever does it like the best is securing them some like intermediate points, which is always fun.
Definitely a race, because sometimes there's often many times where everyone's going for the same thing.
Yes.
And then they take it and you're like, no, what am I gonna do now?
Yeah. Well, that's Sunset Over Water.
The joy.
Speaking of traversing through the landscapes, let's talk about a game where you're walking and enjoying the scenery. Trails. This one is called Trails. It's designed by Henry Audubon and is published by Keymaster Games, and it's like a light-friendly, more friendly version of Parks, where you're going back and forth on this main board, collecting different resources, taking different actions, and working towards finishing goals that will score you a lot of points. Some of these goals can be kept in your hand. Some of these goals are already on the board, but you'll work your way through a few rounds of this game just doing exactly that. Pretty easy once you get going with it, honestly, which is one of my favorite parts about this game. And when you're done, whoever has completed the most amount of contracts and scored the most amount of points will secure themselves the win.
This game is gorgeous. And I feel like Keymaster's production is probably some of the most superior quality in the industry. And what I particularly love about this game is that the sun slowly sets as the game continues.
Yeah.
The sun token kind of moves along the way as you're walking through the trails, enjoying the great vast outdoors inside.
Yes, yeah. And it's cool because you're like going back and forth too. That's like what's really interesting is because you're always going to go back home kind of thing. And you're walking back.
What if you're left all the way on the other side?
Well, maybe you're camping out. Who knows? Maybe you should be playing parks instead.
The nightlife?
Yeah, exactly. Trails, nightlife, expansion. There you go. There you go. Well, that's Trails, and let's move on to the next game.
Now, you know, you could take the trails, or you could go to the high seas.
Oh.
In Forgotten Waters.
Nice.
So this game was designed by Isaac Vega, J. Arthur Ellis, and Mr. Bistro. And it's published by Plaid Hat Games. And this game has been on our shelf for so long because it's best played at 3 or more players.
Well, it's 3+ players.
There is a 2-player variant,
right.
yes.
Yeah, that's true.
But we finally got it to the table, and it brought an immense amount of sunshine into my life.
Yay.
So it had to be on this list. But what you're doing is you're taking the role of pirates. And you'll have a little character sheet with your own little backstory that you'll make up in a little bit of a way. So there's a little bit of a role-playing element in there as well. But you'll try to traverse the various stories that are included in the game. The way you'll do this is based on your player count, you'll get assigned different duties of what you can do. Do you want to man the cannons? Do you want to be the ship's scribe? There's a lot of opportunities and jobs for you on the vessel of your choice. And essentially you'll traverse the story through an app, trying to decide, well, not through an app, through the book.
Through the book, yeah.
Because we were playing remotely with our friends, because there's a remote variant, and then we do that in the app. But you'll take choices and grow your skills, explore the story, dive into the rich narrative. There is an app that accompanies this game that tells you, like, that has all the voiceover for all the story parts.
Which is fantastic.
It tells you everything that happens. It just enriches the experience so much. And we just finished our first kind of scenario in a full 2-part campaign, basically. And I fell in love with my character. I love the storylines. I kept thinking about them. We texted our friends referencing our storylines. It was just such a lovely experience.
Yeah, this game is a lot of fun. I really like the narrative-driven game. It's definitely more of a story-based game than anything. If you're wondering what the gameplay is like, you definitely are going through making decisions, choosing how you want to play your character, and also balancing that between the pirates that are also on your ship. So it is interesting to make those different decisions, but also it makes you branch out into different areas that you might not think you should, because you'll get to a certain point where it's just no longer good for you to actually keep doing a swagger build, because you can't get more swaggy than you already are.
How swaggy are you?
Swiggity, swiggity, swaggy.
But it's an absolutely lovely experience if you want to play a game that's more of an experience with your players. And you do get to roll a 12-sided die.
Yeah.
Which sometimes you'll just roll the ones and things will not turn out in your favor. And you might get hurt a little bit, but that's all part of the journey.
Yes, exactly.
And that's
Forgotten Waters. I have another game about water, but it's more of an expansion. So I'm only bringing out the expansion box. And that is Meadow Downstream. Look at this otter. Look at this otter.
Look at it.
Anyways, Meadow Downstream is an expansion to Meadow, which is published by Rebel Studios, and it's designed by Clemens Kalicki. And basically, what you're going to be doing is building a tableau of animals. which is really fun. You get to work through this like ecosystem build essentially, where certain animals can't be placed into your tableau unless you have existing resources that are labeled on like the top right hand corner of the card. Not to get too much into the details of it, but you will progress through building this tableau, and a lot of the game stays the same. With the expansion, what it adds is this little like canoe trip, where now you're given an extra action token or an extra action slot that you can place into for river specific or downstream specific critters and creatures and like landscapes. But what's fun about this is you also get to trek with your canoe. And if you take cards from this board, they've got little paddle symbols on them, and you'll be able to move your canoe up that many spaces. If you move far enough, you'll get some bonuses. And they've got these interesting crossroads where you can choose to like skip a bunch of spaces but not receive any bonuses, or go the longer way, potentially get some bonuses and make it harder for you to get farther along. Because the farther you are along in the little river trip, the more points you'll score yourself at the end of the game. But sometimes that just isn't the way that you want to score the most points. I really did enjoy the expansion. It definitely makes this game more of a table hog, but that's a good thing because it's beautiful and this art is absolutely stunning, and it has an otter in it.
I agree. The art in this game is probably one of the most beautiful games out there in the world.
Different from a lot of other things in my opinion, and I appreciate that.
It's very welcoming, and the tableau is very fun. The combinations are very fun. The way you choose actions based on where you are in the numbers. There's just a lot of layers in this game that mix together. It builds this very strong game. And what else is lovely about this expansion, there's so many new cards.
Yeah.
And so many new critters to explore and fences to build and houses to live in.
Yes.
Wholesome, lovely Meadow.
But if you haven't tried Meadow, then give that a shot before you pick up the expansion. It's just another great addition. And that's Meadow Downstream.
Now after you're done relaxing down the stream, it's time to go on a safari in Savannah Park. So I referenced Fife being a nice little brain cruncher that occurs. This one also has that similar feeling. You can tell the type of games that bring sunshine into my life, the ones that make my brain go, ah! So Savannah Park is designed by Michael Kiesling and Wolfgang Kramer, and it's published by Capstone Games Family and Deep Print Games. In this game, you are going to build a safari worth of animals.
Yeah.
And you're going to make sure that they get water. They have water because no one likes thirsty.
And they're all together. All the same species are together.
Yeah, you want to be with your family, not a gorilla.
There's no gorilla in this.
Exactly. Well, what you're going to do is everyone's going to put the tiles onto their board and flip it to one side. And then you'll take turns picking one of the tiles, flipping it over and moving it somewhere on your player board because you will have some empty spaces. Now, as you do this, once that tile is placed, it's locked. No one else can move that tile. So as the game continues, more and more tiles are moved and locked. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to, like Tyler said, build a clump of the same species that has access to waters because they will act as multipliers at the end of the game. And essentially, that is the puzzle of this game.
Yes.
It starts out very easy. You're going to be like, I know exactly where this giraffe's going to go. But then all of a sudden, someone picks an untimely piece that makes you reconsider. And all of a sudden, all your plans have been foiled. And the animals don't have water. Everyone's thirsty. And there's not a lot of points to be scored.
Exactly.
That's not fun.
Not to mention that tiles have different animals on them. So there's like 3 different animals on one tile, and now you have to figure out how that one will work.
That's a crossroad.
Yeah, so you can combine all your animals and also make sure they're near water, because sometimes it is beneficial to make sure one species is near all of the watering holes, but at the same time, that is putting your eggs all in one basket, and it could play out not so great for you.
Your ostrich eggs.
Ostrich eggs. There are ostriches in this game. At least you got that one.
And that is Savannah Park.
Alrighty, this last one, can you believe we're on 10 already? Oh my goodness. Alright, this last one is called Evergreen. And I'm just gonna bring it to you because we don't need no transition. Evergreen is designed by Hjalmar Hatch and it's published by Horrible Guild. Essentially in this game, what you're going to be doing is going through and planting different trees. Or I guess like rivers, placing different things. What you're gonna end up doing is flipping over cards and placing them in the center and then drafting those cards. And based on the card that you take, it will determine what action you take and also what area you're able to place in. But the fun thing about this is you've got to start out with like these sprouts, and then the sprouts eventually grow into big old trees.
Big old trees.
Yeah. Tricky part is though, is that there's multiple different scoring rounds, and at the first phase, kind of like photosynthesis, the sun will be facing a certain way. And you'll get points for any tree that is directly touching sun.
Sunshine!
Sun. And you'll also get points for like contiguous groups, a couple other things. But what you're going to want to do is make sure your trees aren't covered by other trees. And there are specific rules with like a big tree, it blocks 2 spaces behind it, something along those lines. But the details are outlined in the game, of course. And then after the scoring round happens, you move to another area, basically a 90 degree. And then the sun shines from that way and you proceed again. The more fun thing about this is as you're drafting, there's always going to be 1 card left. And that card now goes into a pile of matching cards, which later on determines more game end scoring, which could maybe swing the victory in your hand, in your favor, because it's like a multiplier. You want to be paying attention to those cards most definitely. And the more, I guess, even more fun thing, I'm just going to keep on going with this, there are ways that those cards disappear. So you might be planning on this huge multiplier and all of a sudden, gone. Exactly. And then you have to rethink your whole strategy. But not to worry. You can definitely go throughout the whole game and score yourself a lot of points and still be in contention for the victory. There's just exciting ways to score yourself a lot of points in this game.
I think what I'll say is if you really like photosynthesis, but you didn't really like the competitive take that aspect, this game is perfect.
Yes, it's on your own board.
Yeah, you have your own board. Because I thought the board was just the one board in the middle, but everyone has their own board. Everyone's building their own ecosystem. So there is a little bit of like you can take someone else's card, but you're essentially just playing your own game, trying to make the best of what is on your board in accordance to every other player. But the aesthetic is beautiful. The art in this game is absolutely gorgeous. It makes me very happy on the table.
Yep. It also, it's beautiful. And I love the actions, I love the drafting, and I love the multipliers. It's just a lot of points can be scored.
Just evergreen.
And that is Evergreen.
I feel like I got a tan.
Nope.
From all the sunshine from those games.
Wow.
Now what games, for a question of the day, what games bring sunshine into your lives?
Yeah, what reminds you of a sunshine?
Or what games do you like to play in the sunshine?
True. Is there a go-to game that you feel comfortable maybe bringing outside? Something along those lines.
One that you won't lose in the beach? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a beach ball.
That's not a board game.
Oh.
Don't say beach ball.
Not beach ball?
Don't say beach ball.
Oh. Okay. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed our video, you know what to do.
Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here, because we talk weekly about board games because we love them. And until next time, this is us going to get some rays.
Sunshine.
Bye.